Hi, this is Eric Martin with Board Game Geek. I'm here with designer Cole Lurley and Patrick Leader from Leader Games, looking at Root, designed by Cole. Conveniently, you were the designer of the game I'm featuring.
Yes.
So good. You can talk about it. Tell me
and all the art was drawn by Kyle Farron, our staff artist, same artist that did Vast.
Okay. So what is going on in here? I know this is another asymmetric game, kind of specialty of Leader Games. Once you publish two games like that, you're branded forever.
You're stuck.
Everything has to be asymmetric, four-letter
the rest of the time. Yes, you're stuck.
So Root is a completely asymmetric game, and the asymmetry drives, it's all about establishing an immersive, player-driven narratives.
Okay.
So in some other games, when a rebellion breaks out, it might be because of an event card that was played. In this game, that rebellion is another player.
Okay.
It was operating by a different set of rules.
Okay.
So
because they have different goals.
Yeah,
different
they have different goals.
Things that they want to do.
And whereas Vast was more of a sudden death game, in this, all the goals eventually calculate out into victory points. And the first to 30 will win the game. So it's a little easier to see who's winning in time, easier to pick on the leader or help people behind. Right. So there are 4 factions that come with the core game. The first faction, the Cats, they're essentially playing a logistical game. They're trying to build sawmills, build buildings, and as they place buildings on the board, they'll score the victory points as indicated.
Okay.
All of the pieces in the game are screen printed, all of the wooden pieces, so you get different warriors for all the different factions. There's a vagabond somewhere else.
Okay.
So that's the Cat shtick. You know, these tracks look a little bit like the tracks from Eclipse, so their economy depends on the kinds of buildings that they're building on this map.
Okay.
The Cat has to contend with the Woodland Alliance. The Woodland Alliance is trying to spread sympathy, and then they're going to trigger revolts in the woods to establish bases. They get their victory points by placing these sympathy tokens, which are on this track, onto the board. And a way that they interact with everybody is if the Cat is marching around in sympathetic clearings, the Cat has to pay taxes of cards, because essentially they lose followers. If they're having battles and marching in places that belong to the rabbits, all the Cat's rabbits are going to become supporters that are a resource the Woodland Alliance is going to spend.
Okay.
Somewhat straightforward, but you can just see in the comparison between these two boards, these two factions behave in very different ways.
Yes.
The Cat also has to deal with the Eerie Dynasties. The Eerie Dynasties start with a big army on the edge of the map, and they're going to invade the map and they get points based on the amount of roosts they control. Basically, they're playing kind of an area control game.
Okay.
Now, whereas the Cat is pretty flexible, you get a certain number of actions per turn, you can take any number of those actions. The Eerie is playing a programming game. So they have to appease this court. So they make a speech every turn where they say, you know, we're going to recruit in bunny clearings, and then we're going to have a battle in a mouse clearing. But because birds like parroting and they don't easily forget, during the next turn they're going to add new statements to their decree. And as the game goes, the number of actions they take also increases.
Based on everything that they've
created
over time.
And they're going to have a leader card that's sitting right here. It's also in the box, we don't worry about it. But if they can't follow the decree, their old leader gets deposed and they elect a new leader that they have to manage.
Okay.
So they're trying
to... Has different goals, or?
It has different qualities. Some of them are a little more aggressive, some like to build. Basically, they have to deal with internal strife in order to stay stable.
Okay. And you have a new leader come to power with different ideas.
Right, and that will clear the decree and kind of give them like a little restart. The last faction is the Vagabond. The Vagabond is a solo hero, so you get one piece. That's the Vagabond piece. The Vagabond, actually, hand me that bag right there. We'll get him out because he's adorable.
You can also get a plush of the Vagabond today at the convention.
That's right. It does not fit in the box.
So if you look at the way the board looks, there are these clearings and paths, and usually pieces move along the paths. The Vagabond is special and can exist in the forest. It can move from one forest to another, so it gives the Vagabond an added mobility that the other factions don't have. The Vagabond's main goal is to become famous, and they're going to do that by manipulating their relationships. So the Cats, for instance, are going to start indifferent. They can try to get them to be allied. If the Cats ever turn on the Vagabond, or the Vagabond ever turns on the Cats, they'll get relegated to a hostile status. So they can be kind of allies and foes to anybody else on the board. The Vagabond's actions are powered by items that they're going to gather. We don't have any out right now, but those items are crafted by the other players. So one player might choose to craft, for instance, this card that crafts a T. that will put a T in play. The Vagabond can buy that T from the player, and that changes the kinds of actions that the Vagabond's allowed to do.
With the other players doing these specifically to work with the Vagabond.
Yes,
Otherwise,
only the Vagabond
there
and
was the T.
And the score points.
and the score points.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll always be using those cards.
Okay.
The game plays from 2 to 4 players, and there are different faction mixes that can be played at every player card. So, for instance, you can see some of those on this page. Also, you scoot that over. The reverse of this board is a winter map, which you can use, and you can rejuggle the different clearings, so you can essentially play on a randomized setup.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot going on.
There's a lot in this box.
Yes. Okay.
We try to make the game as approachable as possible. So, for instance, we have this. Oops, I'll set it like this.
Yeah.
We have this Learn to Play, which will take you through the entire game rules in a very conversational format. There are lots of illustrations to kind of walk you through how the game works. If you hate teaching games, one person could do this, could read the Learn to Play, and then you can pass around this 2-turn walkthrough sheet where everybody will read out loud what their faction does, and at the end of the second turn, everyone should know how to play the game.
While already starting.
Well, already
Doing
started.
things
Yeah, you'll be in turn
going on
3.
here.
You can start playing the game in about 5 minutes if you use the walkthrough.
Right.
And of course, for people who like technical manuals, we have an actual reference manual. But this isn't. Some reference manuals are just glossaries. You can actually learn from this. It's written as a rulebook, and it is complete. And there are no rules that are offered. So if you miss having numbered rules, we got you.
That's right.
This is all I use.
Yeah, I know.
That's right. 4.11. Got it.
Yeah.
Let me set here. All right. There you go. There's an expansion as well.
Yes.
Not here
Yep.
at the moment. I mean, just mention that for me.
We have a few left at the booth.
Yeah, we
No,
have
no, but
some-
I mean, just.
Oh yeah, sure.
What is the?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
do you want to talk about the expansion?
No, go right ahead.
Okay, I'll keep prattling on. So the expansion takes the game from 2 to 4 players to 1 to 6. It adds 2 new factions: a lizard cult, which uses the discard pile, so the people everyone else is throwing away, they recruit and manage.
Okay.
It also adds a merchant otter faction that sells cards and offers services to the other players. So it adds like kind of a containerish price-setting economy to the game. There's a second Vagabond if you want to play double Vagabond games.
Okay.
And there's a bot which can be used for a solo or cooperative or competitive setting.
Okay. And again, with suggested organizations or
Yeah.
choices for.
Yeah.
So there is a very large sheet in the expansion that looks like this, but has even more player combinations and configurations.
Okay.
There are actually far too many for us to add, so we provided just some guidelines for the way the factions mix. There are tons of different ways to play the game. The expansion will retail for $40 starting in the winter probably, although we will be selling it at Gen Con at PAX Unplugged hopefully.
And through our website.
And through our website.
Yep.
All right. Cole, Patrick, thank you very much. Look at Root.